Friday blockbuster in Vancouver. First, what's your initial reaction to this massive trade?
Well, a level of sadness, but at the same time needed. And when I say sadness, this guy was so much fun to watch since he came to the NHL and, made a quick transition right to the NHL level. Didn't have to spend time in the minors and doing any of that. And you could just see this was a transcendent player. He had the puck on a string nightly. I mean, when you look at him the last couple of years, averaging 4 minutes plus of having the puck on his stick every night. Nobody else has over 3 in the NHL. Like, this guy controls games. But also, I think this was needed because you knew he wasn't going to be here long term. Quinn Hughes had every opportunity to say he wanted to stay with the Vancouver Canucks. Yes, I know he was not going to be in a position to extend until this summer, but we've been through this before with other players. You went through this a couple of years ago with Bo Horvat. He made it clear he wanted to stay in Vancouver. You knew for Quinn Hughes that was very much up in the air, so this was a move that needed to happen. And then in the last couple of days, you could see the impact it was having in the locker room. This was a weight on the entire organization. Not that Quinn himself was, but the situation was hanging over everyone's head. Adam Foote admitted as much. They were feeling it in the locker room, so this needed to happen.
You just spoke with Canucks president Jim Rutherford. What did he tell you about the move?
Well, he said that he was given kind of some indications, and it was more a feeling or a vibe than anything else, about a year and a half ago, that maybe this wasn't headed in the right direction. And appreciate that a year and a half ago, the Canucks were just coming out of a pretty decent playoff run going to Game 7 of Round 2. And even then, he kind of got that sense. And then this offseason, it was communicated to him by Hughes camp that it was very unlikely that he was going to sign here long term. So they had to get out in front of it. I think it was pretty clear that in a perfect world, Hughes would go play with his brothers in New Jersey. That took a level of leverage away from the Canucks. So they needed to get that move done now before this trade deadline so they could maximize the leverage. Whoever got him was going to get at least 2 playoff runs. And then he mentioned that in the last couple of weeks, things really did start heating up. And then the Minnesota Wild decided in the last 7 or so days that, okay, well, if this was happening, Billy Guerin wanted in. And Rutherford told Guerin at the time that you are behind the 8 ball here. This is going to be a long shot for you. But ultimately, he came through with the best package available. And then from that point forward, they went back to the other teams that were interested, wanted to see if anybody could sweeten the offer. But this was the best deal. And I do think that Rutherford feels pretty good about what he's done here and a desire to get younger. Don't expect them to flip this pick like they did when they made the JT Miller move. They flipped that pick quick, got Marcus Pettersson from Pittsburgh. I don't expect them to do that. They did it with Bo Horvat a while ago. It led to Philip Roenick. I think now they understand the mission here. You're in a rare opportunity. You're in last place in the league. You don't necessarily want to tank, but don't do anything with short-term reasoning. Go long on this. If they potentially will trade that pick, it'll be for a really, really young player. More than likely, they're going to want to make that pick in June.
Well, despite the return, you're around this team and the city all the time. How would you gauge the reaction in Vancouver to this deal?
Well, a lot of disappointment, even though there is an understanding in the marketplace that this was inevitable. But you're not going to win this trade on day one. When you trade the best player in the trade, a transcendent player in Quinn Hughes, I mean, people in Vancouver are ready for a rebuild. Well, you rebuild so that you can get the #1 overall pick. Well, the type of guy you want with the #1 overall pick is Quinn Hughes. And yet, as good as he was, it didn't fit. The mix here was bad. But right now, I think there's a lot of disappointment, a lot of angst. And I think overall, the asset value recovered in this trade from Minnesota by Jim Rutherford is pretty good. I don't know that they could have done better than what they've done, but I just don't think the fans are going to see it this way right now. There's a lot of apathy around this team. More than anything, they want some direction. Moving on from Quinn Hughes will be the first step, in my opinion, towards getting that direction, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of happy fans until you see some of these other players develop.
And Minnesota's already played their annual game in Vancouver this season just last week, so it'll be a bit before the city gets to see Quinn Hughes in person again.
Quinn Hughes is in rare company, having been traded away less than 2 years after winning a Norris Trophy. The most recent other is Erik Karlsson, who was dealt from San Jose to Pittsburgh after winning the Norris in 2023. Hughes won the award in 2024. He was a finalist last season despite missing 14 games due to injury.